Ubisoft just confirmed that Assassin's Creed Shadows map size is going to be much smaller than Assassin's Creed Valhalla or even Odyssey. Now at first I was kind of disappointed when I heard about this, but then Ubisoft actually gave some more information and details as to how Assassin's Creed Shadows is actually going to have this vertical and horizontal kind of map design. The first thing that Ubisoft said is that Assassin's Creed Shadows open world map is going to be about the same size as Assassin's Creed Origins. Now it's not going to be the same as Valhalla or even Odyssey, because as you know, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is like the biggest map in the entire series, and the second biggest is going to be Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Or sometimes, you know, players would just like to say that both of the maps are almost kind of the same size, because we have a lot of sea in Odyssey, but then in Valhalla we have a lot of mountains and forest and all this stuff. Now as far as what Ubisoft has said, it seems like it's going to be existing on a more realistic scale compared to what we have seen with previous games, especially with the mountains and how the mountains are going to be feeling in this game. Now if you go down to the details, Ubisoft said that they really wanted the mountains to feel like mountains in this game, because in the previous games they've done a lot of mistakes where they basically just filled in a lot of trees and they just left the entire forest and mountains as a completely empty space. But in Assassin's Creed Shadows, it seems like they've learned their lesson. It seems like they've actually done some very detailed large-scale map, which they've said is going to be having details on both vertical and horizontal level. Now what does vertical and horizontal level mapping mean? Now this is a concept that we've already seen in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where you can explore the map on the terrain, and then you have like a mountain field, which is like a higher scale, which is going to be like the vertical scale of the map, and then you can also visit the underwater. So I believe that there's going to be some sort of underwater exploration in this map, similar to what we have seen with Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Hopefully the underwater stuff that Black Flag actually offered was really amazing, where you could be a pirate who just hunts down some treasures inside the open massive sea, and that was mind-boggling back in those times. And right now it seems like some of those features could finally be returning. And also a very recent interview was done with IGN and the creative director of Assassin's Creed Shadows, where Ubisoft has just confirmed the environment is going to be feeling much more wider in Shadows when compared to Origins. But that's because Ubisoft really wanted the mountains to feel like mountains in this version of Japan, and also because the era's castles took up so much space, which is basically acting as a major dungeon playthrough of these games. And game director Charles Beniot teases that the castles in this game are going to be so large that it has its own level design. So it's basically like a mini map of its own, because the castles apparently seem to be so huge. Now if you've seen this TV show called Shogun, you would probably know that castles used to be like the biggest part when it comes to this era, the feudal Japan era, and there were so many different castles back in those times, and all of the castles were usually located on top of the mountain. So in order to get to the castle, you had to travel through a lot of adventurous routes where you go through a very thick forest, which kind of looks like a jungle, and the wildlife in the forest is actually what makes the entire forest experience feel like you're really in a mountain. Now I think that they've kind of taken inspiration from the kind of forest and mountains that we've seen in Red Dead Redemption 2, where there were a lot of wild animals and you could just simply walk around and you'll see a bunch of different deers and wild bears, and we also had hogs and so many different types of animals. And Ubisoft has already confirmed that there are going to be some very different unique monkeys in the game, and that's just, and it seems like Ubisoft has paid a lot of attention in terms of, you know, designing all of these animals, as hunting being a mini game could actually play a massive role in this game as well. So it seems like the mountains that are located all the way above the castle are basically going to have like this mountain journey that players has to go through in order to get from one castle to another. So in the Shogun TV show, you actually travel from one mountain to another mountain in order to get from one castle to another. So the experience of traveling from one castle to another castle itself made an entire episode. So you kind of just get an idea of how detailed things were back in those times. So it seems like the castles in this game are actually going to have its own mini-map. So it's that huge of a size. Now one very interesting thing about this castle that Ubisoft has noted in the recent interview, the castles in this game is going to be acting as major dungeons throughout the entire map designing. So apparently it seems like you're going to have like a lot of underground dungeons, which is going to take you from point A to point B, or you can even decide to travel through the mountains and forest itself. And this is what the developers have said, that you're going to feel like it's an adventure each time you go from one castle to another. Now Ubisoft has also said that playing as different characters, being Yasuke and Naoe, is actually going to be a very different experience in terms of how you're going to be exploring some of these castles, because especially these castles are designed in a way that Naoe is going to be able to do a lot of parkouring and stealth. So there are basically so many things that you can do in the castle generally. So he's basically saying that the castle castle is going to be so huge that you're just going to keep exploring all the different options in which you will actually take down a particular mission. And it kind of makes sense at this point because he said that if you're going to be playing as Yasuke, you're not really going to be exploring all of those parts of the castle because Yasuke is not like a stealth character. He's not going to be able to run on the roofs or climb some of the places that usually Naoe is going to be able to do it. So it's kind of a bummer that you're not going to be able to explore the entire map as how you would with Naoe, but then Yasuke is going to be giving you like a completely different gameplay section. So both the characters are basically going to have their own traits and their own pros and cons. And there's this one statement that Assassin's Creed Shadows devs have mentioned, that Shinobi Naoe is a more nimble fighter who seems like she'll shine in the castle's environment. All the spaces should give her plenty of shadows to hide in, but if you do fancy taking the fight directly to your opponents, then you'll still have plenty of opportunities to play as Yasuke instead. So Shadows is basically going to be allowing all the players to swap between the different characters in terms of what kind of play style would you guys prefer. So even if you're in a mission, you can even choose to, you know, swap during the mission as well, as far as what Ubisoft has said. It seems like they've just taken the concept of what GTA 5 and Spider-Man 2 has created, where you could seamlessly just transition between one character to another, but then at the same time, some missions are of course going to just lock you to one specific character. Of course, it makes sense, but it seems like most of the missions that you're going to be playing in this game is going to be allowing you to basically switch characters as you like. And even though the map size is not going to be as big as Assassin's Creed Valhalla or even Odyssey, which Ubisoft previously claimed a couple months ago that Assassin's Creed Shadows was going to be like the largest map that they've ever created, which seems like it's not really the case anymore, because now they've given us a confirmed information that it's going to be similar to Origins and it's not as big as the other Assassin's Creed games that they've created in the past. But that means that the game is coming with a lot more detailed developments, because Ubisoft has taken 4 years in order to develop this Assassin's Creed game. And I think this is the first time that Ubisoft is taking 4 years in order to put in to an Assassin's Creed game, because every single year they always have a new Assassin's Creed game. And the last game they spent a lot of time was in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I think that turned out to be a really great game. But Assassin's Creed Shadows started their development all the way in 2020, which means that it's 2024 right now. It's almost going to be launching at the end of 2024, which means that it's probably like around 5 years in total, I guess. But that's the crazy part, because they've got all of this time, and that basically means that they've put in all the details. And you could also see that in one of the clips that we actually got to see in the gameplay trailer that they announced, where Naoe is basically destroying the entire forest, the bamboo trees, as she just passes through and uses one of those chain weapons, and it just looks absolutely insane. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm very excited for this game. Although keeping aside all of the differences, I know most of us are kind of disappointed because we did not really get a Japanese samurai character, but then I guess it is what it is. We can't really change it. And if you guys are just here on this video to spread some hate comments about Yasuke being a black character or whatnot, I understand, okay guys? I've been there. I've also made a lot of ranting videos about this, but it seems like we can't really do anything about it, because I'm of course going to be playing this game. I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan, and I would definitely not be missing out on this game. So if you're not interested in this game, and if you feel like you want to take the hatred a little bit more further, then of course go ahead and do it. Don't play the game. It's completely up to you guys. It's your choice, your money. You don't have to invest in something that you guys are not really enjoying. So keep that in mind, and I really request all of you guys to please not spread hate in the comments section, and let's just keep the comments as exciting and organic as possible and try to stay positive for this game. Hopefully it turns out to be positive. I don't know, maybe Ubisoft might screw up. That's a completely different story. So yeah, of course, if you guys are looking for a YouTube channel that keeps you guys updated with every single details that you guys need about Assassin's Creed Shadows, because there's also another video that's coming up that is related to combat, stealth, as well as some of the animal companion which you're going to be having in this game, which are some very interesting stuff that Ubisoft has shared with me related to all the animals that you're going to be seeing in this game. So that is going to be my next video. So make sure that you guys are subscribed so that you guys can always stay updated as all of these videos get uploaded on the channel. And I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you guys did find this interesting, I would honestly request every single one of you guys to please just take a few seconds of your valued time and just drop a like on this video. It really goes a long way for me as a creator. It helps the videos, it helps the channel a lot more than you guys think. So your support is really appreciated. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a blast of a day, and I will see you guys on tomorrow's video. Until then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.